Zettelkasten, looking at atomized notes. And the example today we're going to use is working on your business, not in your business. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Persohn. You can contact me at pastor@mascot.church or in the comments below if you want. I'm out of town at the moment, had to step away and pick my wife up, so overnighted away. I had a good run this morning it was kind of crack of dawn and making pretty good time. So I'm pretty happy about that. But I realized that I wouldn't get a chance to get all my videos done before the weekend if I didn't do one today. So we're opting for this image-in-image kind of thing with my picture down below. That might be worthwhile. Who knows? We're talking about Zettelkasten, about a note method approach that I've been using that has really benefited me, and I thought I would just share it with my friends and with my enemies, I suppose. And today we're going to look at an element of Zettelkasting, which is the atomization of comments. Now, you probably will need to go back to my earlier couple of videos to get a view on this. This is the first where I'm going to be a little more detailed. We're going to talk a bit more technical, in a more technical manner about this. So let me just pop on to my slides. A Zettel is a card that is stored in a cast or a box. That's German words, a card in a box or a slip in a box or something like that. The Germans do that all the time. They produce these wonderful compound words, and that's the origin of it. We might actually do a little talk on the origins of this and where it came from at some time later. I've been using this for several months now and have already benefited profoundly. I have not gone to the detail that true Zettelkasten experts suggest, and you'll see why in upcoming videos if you stay with these. Now, what's an atomized note? That is, a note that you produce must stand on its own. It needs to be able to have one point and therefore be flexible, and that point needs to be well controlled. So we're going to go to some examples here. I'll flip this up on the screen, and we'll start with our blank card, our blank Zettel. There's nothing going on. I've got a note I need to collect for the day, so the first thing is it gets a date. So this was, I'm making all this stuff up, by the way. Nothing real here. Well, some things are real. You get something out of this for sure. 2022-0105A. So that's the 5th day of January 2022. Now, when you do it like this and you have these in order, you can sort them from the oldest to the youngest, and the youngest to the oldest. If you have them in Excel or something like that, it makes the most sense. The American system, where it is month and day are swapped around, sometimes it's not as pleasant to do that. But this approach, first the year, then the month, then the day. And you don't have to use this approach, okay? So what is that? That's the serialized ID of your Zettel. That's the thing that is unique. One thought, one date. The A means this, the first one of the day. It's a reference note. As you get a little better at this, you'll categorize these things. Now, I have not yet done it, but I see where I need to go, and I'll talk about that sometime later, how those categories work and why a lot of people will stop these things because they jump in too early with categories. So this is a note type, okay? I've got a note type. So what did I record on that day? Well, I'm looking at maybe building a new business, and I found a link which is about apprenticeship and internship programs. It's just something I scratched down. It's all going to be handwritten, by the way, okay? When I do it. And then you got this URL here, which doesn't mean anything. It doesn't go anywhere. www.apprenticeshipsandinternships.tech. Probably nowhere. If it does, lucky dip. And I make a note, good source for trainee staff. So that is an atomized thought. There's only one thought there. It's a reason, it's a reference note. It's something that I'm going to use in the future. So that's cool, okay? Now what happens? A little while later on in the day, I'm taking it easy, I'm reading, I'm whatever I find, that I'm leafing through this book. And again, a phony book. Or no, I'm actually not leafing through the book, it's a paper. Notice my serialized ID, same day, but it's got a B on it, 2022-105B. The note type is lit or literature. I'm now referencing literature. It's not quite the previous one, which was a reference note. This is a literature note. I'm quoting something from a book or from a play or whatever. And I am quoting something that jumped off the page, which was a section called 5 Common Pitfalls in Employing Staff in a Startup. Ooh, I needed to know it. It just popped off the page when I saw it. And the paper is called Um, Building a business from inception through delegation to the periphery of the Peter Principle. I made that up, by the way. And the author, paper by William I. Know-It-All, page 12, line 21, and that's a DOI reference. So, but that meant something. Those 5 common pitfalls, they were important to me when I was reading this paper. I knew that maybe I would trip in one of those areas. That paper had a lot of important, interesting stuff in it, but a lot of those things are not particularly relevant to me, to my need at the moment. It's a literature reference. I don't want to lose this, and I don't just want to keep that paper stuck somewhere on a shelf or in a pile because I'll never find it. I need this to get me back to this paper. So, and now a little while later, so these two were both happened on the 5th of January, and note A and note B. Now a little while later, quite a while later, in June the 5th, again, all bogus stuff here, I create another note. Notice my date, 202-20605A, that is June 5th. See the serialized ID in the top left-hand corner? This is a note type which is fleeting. What does that mean? It might be just a thought or a memory, something that I had. Maybe I had it while I was running. Maybe I had it while I was fixing my motorcycle or whatever, maybe just driving the car. I got a fleeting note. And it was something that profoundly affected me years ago and that I've tried to live to. And here's the thought, right? Work on your business, not in your business. And I noticed that that particular phrase, that meant a lot to me. That helps me because past business endeavors that I've been involved in, I've ended up working in the business constantly, never on the business, and I've never built that way. So now I realize if I'm going to do something more, either business, organization, church, whatever, I'm going to build it in such a way that I get to work on it. That is, I get other people to work in it, and I reward them for doing so. And so that becomes my point of philosophy. Now I have these 3 cards, they're all together. Now the first thing we need to do is just remember that these are these are atomized notes. Each note stands on its own. Let's push this a little bit here and look at a bad note, something that's not atomized. Coming back to the previous one, maybe on the same day, work on your business, not in your business, source unknown. Then I come across another phrase, and it says, leave your office door unlocked and open, which is like a motivational thing, about managers. I think, oh, that's great. So I'm going to stick it on the same note. It's no longer atomized. It no longer stands alone. It's no longer a single thought. And then I realized I've just driven by King Street on the way home, and I saw this empty office building, and I said, oh, check out that empty office in King Street. That's a bad note. It is, I don't care if it's fleeting or not. If I've scratched those on a piece of paper, if those things are important, that is 3 zettels. At the end of the day, the bottom one probably will never need to be a zettel. It's probably just going to be a diary entry or something, or an Outlook reminder. The top 2, each should get its own. So that's a bad note. It's not atomized, okay? What do I mean by atomized? It doesn't stand alone. You should be able to go to any of your zettels, and they should make sense to you without any other. Now I'm in this interesting place. Something now has happened a while later. I've got all of my cards out on the table, and I'm looking at them, and I'm trying to figure out how to get to the next step in my organization, in my business. And I'm scratching together many, many thoughts. I put them all there, and I need to somehow link them, but I don't know. I don't want to put all these in a box away from one another because, in their own box, because some of these things relate to things other than a business. Some of the things that are part of this whole process need to be applied to maybe family or other organizations, or maybe talks I might give, or lectures I might give, or whatever, or maybe just to help me at work. So I don't want to take all these zettels, pull them away and stick them somewhere, and separate them from the rest of the body of my work. I think you know where I'm going here. So what do I do then? I use an other type of note. What type of note is that? That type of note is something that we call a bridging note. Now, what is that? Well, first of all, its note type is bridging. It's designed to draw together multiple zettels and multiple thoughts. It has a serialized ID just like any other. So this was much later in the year, 2002-11-10, the 10th day of November when I did it. And what did I put on the bridging note? I could put a comment there, and I did, and I've put some other things there. Building a business I can work on, not in. Oh, that's really cool. There you go. That's what this is all about. I want to build a business I can work on, not in. Now, how am I going to, what's the bridging note do? The bridging note doesn't do much on its own except link all of the previous related Zettels to it. Now this could go on. This could be a couple of pages of notes. I might have to clip something together. So when I want to get this all out and have a look at it, I know to go to my bridging note, which is the hub of this data, this information, stick it on the table, go through my card files by date, and say, oh, I've got all these, put them all on the table, and put them around one another and say, which one is next? Where do I need to go? Now, you might find then that you have bridging notes to bridging notes, because there may be a section on this that has to do with employment grants, or another section that's a little bit separate, and put them in a corner, and then have a bridging note that then links back to 2022-1110A as a bridging note. Now again, my reason for doing that and my discovery with this process is that it helped me personally in a number of areas. It helped me to take all of these buzzing thoughts and put them in a place where I can come back to them when I need them. And as I do this more and more, it's more and more fruitful. It has helped me as well to take the chatter out of my head. You see, a lot, not all the chatter, by the way, a lot of the chatter we have is some kind of an attempt to help us to remember things. I can't forget, I can't forget, I can't forget. What we'll often do is record it in a diary. That's okay, but we forget where the diary entry was. I wrote that down somewhere. We need something better than that. The next thing that it does, because I'm used to using these serialized numbers and these notes and so on, is that you become a little bit more instinctively aware of the way to take notes mentally. And I'm noticing over time that I can hold those notes in a section in my head when I'm driving, when I'm doing other things. I say, And also, I'm on a trip away. I don't have my box of Zettels with me, but I've got my diary in my computer, so I use the same approach, and I just stick them in the diary. As soon as I get home, each one of those things gets a card, okay? And so I hope you enjoy my journey. I hope you enjoy this slightly more technical discussion. We're going to jump into categories and categorizations of Zettels a little while later when I've had a bit more time to think this thing through as well. So this has been Zettelkasten, not Zettelkasting, Zettelkasten, and it's a look at atomized. Man, you know how easy it is to mess this stuff up. Atomized notes, this whole area of working on your business, not in your business. That was my example today. God bless you. I will see you later. If you like these videos, like, share, subscribe. If you don't, send them to your enemies. God bless. See you soon.